Good morning, Auburn. It's another rainy, dreary day, but on the plains, but everything is fine. My name is Robert Wilkins. This is our 7th Be Informed special edition. We Alabamians no longer accept being at the bottom of healthcare in the United States. There is a vision of hope in the small town of LAFAYETTE, which is stopping the decline of rural health, proving that a clinic in a box is more than a concept, but a reality for thousands of Alabamians. As reported in the Alabama Examiner, a group of people 2 days before Christmas from the East Alabama Republican Assembly, which I was one of the attendees, our tour guide being chief duty, impressed us with this clinic in a box known as ONMED telehealth station.
Mary, I have a friend who's a catfish farmer that once got bit by a snake. Now, it was non-poisonous and he's fine, but at the time he didn't get a good look at it, so he wasn't sure. Being in West Alabama, he had to drive over an hour to get to a hospital.
Unfortunately, it's common for folks in rural areas to have to drive long distances for health care.
Well, Auburn University, Alpha Insurance, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and others have teamed up to find a way to address that problem. And the solution has its roots in the COVID pandemic, telemedicine.
From Lafayette, Alabama, the nearest hospital is 26 miles away. And when people started getting COVID, they were looking for somewhere closer to get treatment.
The fire station lobby ended up becoming the de facto medical clinic. So we were seeing people 24 hours a day revolving through that fire station door. Plus, not only that, having to handle 911 emergencies. So we knew there had to be a better way of getting health care.
Seeing the extreme impact COVID was having in Chambers County, Auburn University and the Alabama Cooperative Extension System developed a plan to combat the lack of affordable health care that many rural communities face.
We have an ONMED station. It is a telehealth care station that allows somebody to walk into the station with a specific need, and they see somebody within just 5 seconds. A healthcare provider comes on, and that might be a nurse practitioner, a PA, an MD, a DO, but somebody with that healthcare background, they can diagnose and treat. So further diagnostic testing, pulse oximeter testing, some auxiliary tools drop down and can assess the skin, can assess the back of the throat, in the ears, and with all of that, a diagnosis can be made.
The ONMED unit is even able to dispense prescriptions. But the Community Health and Wellness Center offers much more to the citizens of Chambers County. This building's been renovated, and patients can consult with students in Auburn's colleges of pharmacy, nursing, and human sciences for other procedures like physical exams and hearing tests.
And so those students can now come into this environment and really connect with rural health. They can identify that the needs aren't always the same. Sometimes in urban settings we have different resources, different availabilities and access. And so now if our students can see what rural health is and see it in action, we can now connect with patients, connect with networks and providers, sponsors, those that might help drive this forward. And so it is a win-win.
Much of the cost of the center was covered by donations from Blue Cross Blue Shield and the Alpha Foundation. Alabama Farmers Federation's executive director says this center could be the solution to a problem faced by many of the organization's 350,000 members.
We've had a lot of small rural hospitals that have closed, and so folks have to drive. As far as urgent care, getting providers, whether it's nurse practitioners or doctors to serve rural communities. So this just is another avenue as we're bringing broadband out to our communities to provide telemedicine and on-site diagnosis that will help folks diagnose problems and then get them to a more urban area or where there is a hospital or healthcare providers available.
Ranked by household income, Chambers County comes in the bottom third of Alabama counties. But officials in Lafayette say it's a rare honor to be leading the state in something.
But to see the people's reactions when they come out of this thing, and they're just in awe. And they're like, wow. And this is here in Lafayette, but this could be everywhere. It's just amazing.
That looks like a terrific solution to the problem of rural health care. Do they have plans to extend into other areas?
They do, but they're hampered by another problem that's common to rural Alabama, the lack of reliable broadband internet access. Hopefully, through the actions of the governor and the legislature to expand internet, these ONMED care stations will become more common in areas where there aren't enough or any doctors available.
That would be fantastic.
Right.
5 of us at a time were invited into the 8x10 cubicle. The glass cubicle was then sealed, soundproofed, and created a smoke glass so that no one could see in. One of us volunteered to stand on the scale to check our weight in the floor, but it was not me. We felt like we were going from kind of like a Flintstone era into a Star Trek, but I felt comfortable.
Imagine in the future, anyone, anywhere can see a doctor at any time. In a germ-free environment, surrounded by high-tech diagnostics that are remotely controlled by the clinician. Let's go one step further. Imagine receiving your prescription instantaneously, right on the spot.
If you were to call your doctor right now and say, I need to come down to your office, I need to be there in 15 minutes, what are the chances of them saying, come on down, we're ready for you? It just doesn't work that way. It does with ONMED.
These forward-thinking ideas gave birth to the ONMED station and its patented designs. An instant medical solution where and when people need it most.
The issue is, I'm sick now, where do I go? They can be in and out in 12 to 15 minutes with their medication on their way home.
Before we came into the 8x10 cubicle, it had already been cleaned by UV lighting to get rid of all germs. And you think about it, when you're in a doctor's office, you go into a room with lots of people, some are coughing and so forth, and then you go into an examining room that they may have, tore the paper off where you lay down, or done a little bit of cleaning, but the air is still, full of germs and so forth. This is totally sterile, which is great. I felt just a little safer on that end of it. It reminded me a lot of, I don't know if a lot of you remember Johnny Carson. He played Karnak the Magnificent. And Karnak was an ominous soothsayer, who could divine the answer to questions that were hermetically sealed. So I felt like we were kind of hermetically sealed by the UV lighting. It took all of our vital signs. It had 2 items that came down. One came down, checked your heart beat and so forth. Another one came down that was a real. It was like a camera, and it would look into. You could put it towards your mouth. You could see down your throat, in your mouth. You could check your ears. You could check your eyes, and it would even be able to scan your skin and look at that. And it all would go up on the screen. It was like a 65-inch screen. You had your medical person that was there checking all the signs. It also was able to thermal to check your temperature. So all those things were there. So about 86% of the things that are needed in a doctor's office, or being able to check everything out,
that there is no health care without access to it. And when you look at the access to healthcare crisis, here are some very stark stats. 80% of U.S. counties lack access to primary care. The second statistic that's important here is 83 million plus Americans are part of those 80% of the counties. So you're looking at 83% or greater Americans who lack access to primary care. That's just the stats as they stand right now. And then when you start looking at compounding factors, 11,000 people aging into Medicare every single day. So we're getting older as a country, right? According to the WHO, 3 out of 4 Americans is considered either overweight or clinically obese, which, as you can imagine, adds to the risk factors. So the demand for care, the demand for primary care continues to grow. We've got some other complicating factors that makes the access to care situation even more challenged. So if this is almost your umbrella, we are running out of clinicians or doctors as a country. As of 2021, if every single person who was underserved were to be served, we needed another 200,000 more doctors. We are going to be 86,000 doctors short by the year 2034. And the ones that are in practice today, who are practicing medicine today, about 55% of them are on the verge of retiring or have actively stated that they're burned out. So that's your traditional clinic-based system.
Right.
We went through COVID, and then we thought about telemedicine as the alternative. We've got 42 million Americans without broadband, and that number continues to grow. So there is a need for an alternative solution that brings both your clinic with the rapid scalability of telemedicine, and that's ONMED, clinic in a box. The key benefit is if you've got an access to care problem, it is going to be inordinately expensive, $2 million to stand up a clinic and another $500,000 to $750,000 a year to run it. You're also not going to have enough clinicians to staff it up. The ONMED Care Station provides you with immediate access to care in any community that needs access to care. This could be rural America, this could be urban America, it could be semi-urban America. We've deployed these care stations in everything from a prison system to outside of a Stop and Shop in Connecticut to inside of a university system in Alabama. This could be deployed anywhere, and it brings immediate healthcare access to the community that needs it.
Well, Tuskegee University now has a custom care station on campus.
Yeah, the Tuskegee ONMED Care Station allows students, faculty, and staff to have extended access to most primary care services. Here's ONMED CEO Tom Vanderheyden about what he hopes this brings to the university.
ONMED has been in existence for about 9 years as a development stage company, and just the last 6 months or so is when we've started to commercialize the offering and our services and start providing healthcare to great places like Tuskegee. We combine the best of innovation, technology, as well as traditional medicine. So what we are attempting to do is bring access and affordability to people who don't have it, who need it. So in our first several thousand visits, we find that we treat about 86% of what comes into the care station. The remaining 14% needs to be cared for in some other way. And we have the referrals, so we make referrals to other clinicians in the community to make sure that you get the ultimate care that's required for you. So the ONMED Care Station is going to provide both primary care and urgent care. So when you come into the station, if you're not feeling well, we will have that conversation. If you are feeling well and you want to talk about your health journey, we are prepared for that as well. So if we want to talk about mammograms or colonoscopies or any of those kinds of what I would call routine maintenance that all of us should be doing within health, we are fully prepared for those kinds of visits as well. For those of us who've been in the industry for this long, when you see a technology and capability like this and you suddenly realize the impact it can have on how many people in the country, that's what got us excited. We're like, finally there is something that's going to make a real big difference.
And we should mention that that box does self-clean once someone leaves after getting those services. Joining us now is Tuskegee Mayor Tony Haygood on the impact this ONMED facility will have on the community when it comes to healthcare. How did this partnership come about?
Well, it was a major HHS grant competition, and we were one of the 75 communities that were able to receive the grant. We selected Tuskegee University as our major partner because we knew the excellence they have in science, the diagnostic capability that they have, the healthcare knowledge that they can share to work with us on that. And so it worked out very well in the partnership with Tuskegee University, ONMED, and the city of Tuskegee.
And Mayor, as we know, Tuskegee is home to the infamous syphilis study. So why does this ONMED partnership mean so much to the community?
I think the key thing, it provides us with immediate access to health care for people who normally might not be able to get to it. It's like having an urgent care in your community where you go to the ONMED, and as soon as you step in there, you're going to be diagnosed. And they can tell you everything from your weight, your height, your blood pressure, your temperature, and then actually they will send a message. If you're in a critical stage, they send a message to the doctor immediately. And I think some of them even call an ambulance. So it's state-of-the-art technology that's great for us. It's great for the Tuskegee students, but it's great because in a rural area you have great technology coming in that's at the next level.
Mayor, I know that Tuskegee University is an important part of this city. I want to talk about these upgrades to the football stadium. When you walk in and you see this, I know you have to be proud.
Oh yeah, particularly excited and proud. I've heard about it, I've seen it online, as some have said, but it's nothing like being here, like I heard someone saying earlier. When you're here in this spot where so many things have happened, it's an exciting day here in the city of Tuskegee, and particularly at Tuskegee University. It's been a little while coming, but we're excited about it. We're glad it's here.
And congratulations to you all for the new turf and everything that's going on here in Tuskegee.
There's a lot of good things going on in Tuskegee, and what we're particularly excited about, like with this grant, it's happening because people are working together. In partnerships, you get a lot done, and things expand. So not only are we doing this here, ONMED will go out to other communities. We're working with 6 other counties and 13 other cities. So it's not only what we're doing here with Tuskegee University, we're reaching out into other rural areas to provide that technology and the next level of health care.
And I can hear the excitement in your voice about this. Congratulations.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Mayor, thank you so much.
ONMED has expanded from Lafayette to 5 other rural areas, including Tuskegee and BOLIGEE. The goal is to expand to all rural areas of Alabama. ONMED is one of the vision tools in pushing towards improving rural health care in Alabama.
I remember the first pager. I remember the first cell phone. Now we have the first ONMED station. It really is that big.
Improving rural health care in Alabama, which can be partially alleviated the shortage of doctors and clinics. But we cannot forget our independent pharmacies. Contact your legislator in passing the Pharmacy Benefit Managers PBM legislation in February. A famous quote was once said, "We cannot control the direction of the wind, but we can adjust ourselves." Be informed by joining YouTube Auburn's Voice. Distribute this video to your friends and on social media. You can make a difference. Become a part of our Be Informed campaign and be informed.